So let's talk about the hints and teasers for the last book of Warhammer 40k Arks of Omen, hints of a shattered galaxy and Tyranid encroachments, and of course a lone knight to stand against the darkness. Hello and welcome back to Warspets Tactics, where today I thought we'd do a quick summary of the hints and teasers towards the last book of the Arks of Omen. Games Workshop have been hitting us with a fair few more, the presumed end of their tarot card series, and a rather interesting galactic map hinting at the arrival of the Tyranids. So far, the 40k teasers from the lore have taken the form of the Emperor's Tarot, and Games Workshop's system seems to have been that there's 4 of these cards for each book in Arks of Omen. The teasers that we've got from them so far fit pretty well perfectly with the Abaddon, Angron and Vashtor books. Then we had 4 different Tau teasers for the Farsight one, meaning that the last 4 cards are going to be referenced in the last book in the series, which most people are expecting to be titled The Lion. I thought we'd take a quick look through these last 4 tarot cards and see what hints we can glean. The first one is titled The Lost Child. I talked about this in the last one. The subtitle calls it Purgator, and the audio is And here is a fatherless son, alone in the endless night. The picture shows a blonde but oddly old looking baby, within a border with some stars and things around it. And the first reaction that just about everyone has to this one is that it's probably Lionel Johnson, given the amounts of Dark Angels hints that we've had so far, plus the various rumours. The blonde hair of the child would fit absolutely fine, and the rest of the card does have some fairly decent Dark Angels colour schemes, with the dark green. Calling him a lost child would fit fairly well, as all the Primarchs were at one stage, perhaps the Lion more so than most, crash landing on Caliban and growing up in the forest full of horrors, somehow miraculously surviving. I guess the other possibility for this one could potentially be Dante. He is on a red backdrop, I guess. I'd say that that's probably less likely, though probably not out of the question. I'd guess that he probably wouldn't be referred to as a child quite as much as one of the Primarchs maybe. He is famously old these days. The next tarot card is Tarot Card 18, this one titled The Star. The subtitle for this one's a bit more weird, Conjunctus Malacendum. A lot of the other ones have been sort of faux Latin for the subject of the title. And the audio states, as wars waged beneath the gaze of a newborn star. Sounds like it might just be following on the sentence from the previous one, to be honest. I guess you could read them together as the Lion is lost, as this thing is causing some damage to the galaxy. The card itself has a rather mysterious star with an eye on it, and I think it's probably worth noting that the star's got 8 points as well, and we know who likes the 8-pointed stars in Warhammer 40k. It's shining out a whole bunch of rays with some mysterious and disturbing symbols on it, and it seems to be located within a dense green jungle with a whole load of twisted vines. In the first Arks of Omen book, there was a prophecy regarding Vashtor's ascension, and they described a shining star as a keyhole, presumably the thing that Vashtor uses the key to unlock, I suppose. So I'd guess that this one probably represents whatever technological horror he manages to unleash on the galaxy, and something that poses an enormous threat to the Imperium and the galaxy on the whole. I feel like the weird symbols will probably go alongside that. I suspect that despite it being in gold, this thing might not be a good thing. I guess the other potential reading of it could be that this refers to the Lion himself, though I'd guess not given the 8-pointed star. Just from the style of the card itself, it's shining within the dark of a great big forest, I suppose, which could represent him growing up in the forests of Caliban. I'd guess that's probably actually less likely though. It sounds like the first sentence follows on from the second here, and this one actually probably represents the threat to the galaxy as opposed to the thing that's hopefully coming to save it. Moving on to card 19, next up we have the Knight. The subtitle for this one is Palador, and the audio is He Stands Defiant, the blade reflecting in the light of a crimson sky. In this one we get a rather green-coloured knight with a very Dark Angels looking helm on him, holding a sword aloft against some sort of great big demon coming in from the night. I feel like perhaps more than anything else this one really does foreshadow the Primarch. The colouring in the helm do look really quite specific for the Dark Angels, though I'd say that the threat is maybe a little bit more uncertain. I guess Crimson could imply Angron maybe. A showdown between the Lion and the Cornate Primarch would be pretty cool, and I guess that might mirror what happened alongside Guilliman's ascension when he fought Mortarion not too long after that in those Plague Wars. I guess the other option would be that it's just a bit more stylized and it just represents whatever threat Vashtor and Abaddon unleash between them. Potentially the things that's the whole danger to the galaxy, and the Lion needs to step up to stop it, and stop Mr. Vashtor ascending to become the 5th deity of chaos. My guess would be that he's probably unlikely to do this, seeing as he's just got a new model. I feel like it'd be hard to represent that character in-game if he really is as powerful as an entire Chaos God. Finally though, and what people are thinking is probably the very last card in this tarot series, Tarot Card 20. This one is the Galaxy Inversed, and things aren't looking so good here. Tarot sets generally have 20 cards, so this one is probably going to be the last one, as well as it would fit in with the idea that there's 4 cards per book, which seems to have held up true so far. The subtitle reads De Galaxy Profundi Invertus, and the audio states everything will change, reality bleeds, destiny sickens, the galaxy grows darker and darker still. This card's really quite a fun one. It's just the same as the first tarot card from the set, the one that said Galaxy at the start, but basically just absolutely ruined. The nice little planets and star in the middle of it are all broken and smashed, the fruit's gone rotten, the chalice has rusted and fallen apart, and the bells hanging on those ribbons have fallen down and started rusting themselves. Even the stars at the bottom have a few holes in them. Again, that one might well harken back to that prophecy from the first book, saying that some of the stars are snuffed out and some of the remaining coalesce into one. In terms of actually teasing what's going to happen, I'd say that this one's a little bit non-specific, to be honest. The galaxy and order and everything slowly falling apart is perhaps the normal state of affairs for Warhammer 40k, but I'd guess that whatever the outcome of the final fight, presumably between the Dark Angels and the forces of Chaos, it implies there's going to be somewhat serious consequences to the galaxy, and it's not like Games Workshop haven't made some pretty serious changes to the setting in series like this before, say for example the Gathering Storm ending with the Cicatrix Maledictum, a great big rift that cut the entire galaxy in two and very much changed the state of affairs for the worse in the Imperium's eyes. I feel like perhaps one of the most interesting reveals that will come out of the series is what Abaddon and Vastor are trying to unlock, exactly what sort of power it has, and whether there really is going to be some sort of change to the permanent 40k system, and whether that might impact on models and things that we play in game. I still think that somehow Vastor unlocking, say, an army of Dark Mechanicus of some sort would be pretty awesome. I have a feeling, though, that if that comes about, it might be a fair bit later on, though. It does sound like most of the rumours and teasers that some of the focus is going to be shifting to fighting some Tyranids shortly after this. Talking of which, Games Workshop have their Adepticon preview next week. I strongly suspect that they're going to be lifting their lid on this last book and at least the title of it. My strong bet would be that it's probably going to be the Lion on the cover, and we'll get to see his new model in that same preview. I guess a less likely but still very possible chance, though, is that it could be Dante on the cover and his model there. That would certainly shake things up a bit compared with what people are expecting, but I do think that it's probably less likely. With the Dante model leaking early, I guess Games Workshop can't show that off at this next preview. But to be honest, I feel like it's going to be pretty momentous news if they are indeed showing off the Lion. Games Workshop seem to have found that it's important enough to have a countdown to it coming out, around about 5 days left at time of recording. One of their teasers also had a rather curious map as well, with a whole load of pinkish type symbols over to the Galactic West, something that they have mentioned in another one of their teasers, referencing Tyranids maybe coming into the galaxy a bit more. My guess is that we probably won't be getting a full 10th edition teaser with this preview, though it's certainly not impossible, and I feel like we might get another teaser as to what's to come with the Tyranid narrative perhaps. Let me know what you think of these hints and teasers then. Any wild ideas for what's going to be happening in the last book are greatly appreciated. Is the Lion coming back? And if so, where's he been all this time? And what sort of technological menace is he going to be fighting in Vashtor's creations? If you've enjoyed the video, then feel free to subscribe to Auspex Tactics. I'll certainly keep the regular 40k videos coming. I do tend to post new ones just about every day. I'll certainly be looking forward to covering the reveals at this preview next week, and I'll certainly look forward to doing a short synopsis of the lore of the book when we finally get that as well. Finally, if you've been enjoying all the videos on the channel, I would just like to mention that Auspex Tactics does have a Patreon page as well, and you can find that one linked in the video description below if you're interested in helping support. Channel patrons do get a few advantages, seeing certain videos early, regular votes to see what sort of things happen next on the channel, and automatic entry into the regular prize giveaways with a chance to win some big model kits each month. If any of that sounds good to you, or you'd just like to help support, the link is down in the video description. In any case, a massive thank you for listening, and I'll hope to see you guys next time.